Well, yeah, of course. First of all, I'm here because I've been to every Joy of 6 since it first started. It's right in my bag, so I'm into the 6mm stuff. And last year, of course, it was a virtual Joy of 6, and I had all this set up to go, this Battle of Little Bighorn, but unfortunately it didn't take place, so I made a little video and put it on YouTube. First time I put a video on, nothing like yours. And so when it's on this year, I thought, oh great, it's already set, it's already done, I don't need to paint anything. So I packed it all up and brought it down. So yeah, doing the Little Bighorn. Basically, I've been waiting many years for somebody to make suitable figures in 6mm, and Pete from Baccus came out with his Pony Wars, and that's ideal, I just painted them up a bit more historical than the film, the Hollywood thing, and did that, and then used my own rules. Which Pete makes a thing about. Funny. Yeah, it's nice actually. We've had a couple of young lads playing it, which seems to be the case whenever I come to this. I did Star Wars at the last one 3 years ago, Battle of Hoth, and all the kids loved that. I guess because of the franchise thing. So that's always nice to get the young ones involved, because you're looking around. There's not that many youngers in the hobby still. So if we can get a bit of that interest from them. So they enjoyed it anyway, and they did better than Custer on the day. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he died in the end, but he lasted till about 7 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. So they did better. Yeah. I've played 6mm now for the last, 20, 30 years. I mean, I used to do the 25mm, but I always wanted to do big battles, basically. It depends what you want to game, doesn't it? If you want to do a skirmish, if you want to do a fantasy sort of games, I did a Lord of the Rings at 10mm, so I could, again, get a big board out. But that's why, basically, I want to do the big battles, but using little figures. And what particular I like is the terrain. So you've got the Battle of Little Bighorn there, so you've got the whole sort of 4 mile stretch really, whereas if you're playing at 28mm, you're usually just playing the last stand hill, so you've got a few companies, but I wanted to see what the nuances of the whole tactical thing is. So, and same with, I'm obsessed with Waterloo and all that, but to do that on any scale, that unless like the guys did the big Waterloo game, which was great, love it, but just not for me. I've always been 6mm. Yeah.
It's a very friendly show. You got guys coming up to you who just want to talk about the hobby, so that's great. I actually love the small atmosphere. I've heard a number of people say, well, it's a bit surprising that you guys would want to fly over for this little show, but the smaller shows are fun because you do get more of that interaction, and we have some smaller shows in the U.S. as well, and to me, those are actually some of the best shows. There's a show called Barrage in Maryland. It's only like 150, 200 people at most, and that's a great show every year. So you get the same atmosphere here, and it's been neat. Other cool thing about Joy of 6 that we just do not get in the U.S., there's not one 6mm vendor for terrain, for miniatures, for anything. And here, they're all 6mm vendors. It's funny, I came over here with a list of games that I wanted to get into demo slots for. I had like 5. Pretty ambitious for a short show. I haven't gotten to one yet. I've just been talking to people. I got to participate in Peter's panel, which was a lot of fun. I've gotten to look at a lot of the games, but I haven't actually gotten to roll any dice, and time is running short for that. So I don't know that I'll even get to do that, which means I might have to come back, Alex.
Well, I think like everybody else who's come here today, we've had 2 years worth of frustration, and it's just been bottled up, and it's just exploded today. And we've had a queue the like of which we've never seen before. People coming from 3 separate entrances, all desperate to get in, and when they've got in here, they've just had a great time. You can hear the buzz now. It's 3:30 in the afternoon of a show, and all the games are still in full swing. There's still people around, there's still people at the trade stands buying, because everybody here wants to squeeze at every last minute out of this show, and it's just great. It's great. It's a wonderful atmosphere.
It is, and it's a big promotion for 6mm hobby in general as well, isn't it? I mean, from your point of view, what are the what is good about 6mm Wargaming? You know, tell people why they should do 6mm Wargaming.
Oh goodness me, and you want me to do that in 2 minutes? There's no end of reasons, and very briefly, cost. It is a very cost-efficient way to wargame. It's very easy to paint and very quick to paint. You can get an army of several hundred figures on a table in a couple of weeks. You can change the way you wargame. You can play really big games in a relatively small area. So you can change from being a skirmish game into being a general very, very, very easily. Very practically. Storage. You can get an army in a useful box. You can get 2 armies in 2 useful boxes, and a third can carry the terrain. And all of that will weigh under 2 kilos. Right. Now, I have seen people with bulging arms just carrying a little skirmish force in the larger scale. So it is an incredibly practical scale to handle, to use, to transport. Now, that's just 3. That's taken about 45 seconds. I'm doing a whole series of videos, and I'm probably going to give about half an hour to each of those. So it's a big, big subject. But just as much as anything else, you can put big, spectacular games on easily, and you get that helicopter view. You get away from the minutiae of individual figures to seeing whole armies manoeuvre. And the vista you see behind me here, there are some amazing games. Oh, I've got to say, I'm not going to single any one game out. I can't, because they're all wonderful. I mean, we don't have a prize for best in show. We never have done, because every game to me is a best in show, because we've got very, very small games and very, very large games, but they all demonstrate different aspects of the hobby and different ways people have used the scale. It's a very, very flexible way of wargaming, so you can have the big mass games, but equally so we've got a beautiful little compact 3x4 game, and it looks absolutely gorgeous, and it works well within its own context. So they're all different, they're all beautiful, and they all function well. We're going to carry on doing what we're doing. All we do as organisers is we find a place to put some tables and to get some traders in, and then the people year after year produce amazing games, and while they have that enthusiasm, we'll carry on providing a space, and as we've had to do every year, we'll get more space to let them enjoy themselves by playing those games, get more traders along, and just let the show work its own magic.
Very pleased. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, it's been great. We're used to kind of some of the bigger war game shows that we have in the U.S.
Because in America, everything's bigger.
Absolutely.
Including bellies.
Yeah, especially in Texas. I hear the war game shows in Texas are huge. But here, with the numbers, which are actually pretty impressive, I think, and I think coming back after 3 years off, or 2 years off from COVID has affected that. It's got a great feel to it.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's excited to be here. Everyone's really very friendly, even though we have clear American accents. They're very welcoming. So it's been great.
And the quality of the games that are being put on are really astonishing.
Yeah.
I mean, it really showcases what you can do with 6mm. And I'd say, the average quality game is superior than what we see in an American show.
Oh, no question. And it's not just the figures. It's also the terrain. It's the boards that they're on. I mean, there are some here that are nicer boards than I have ever seen at any show that I've ever been to, and I've been to quite a few.
So what's the highlights of this particular show for you? Has there been any particular tables that you would say stand out that you're going to think about?
There's two right next to each other. There's Pear's table and the Imogen River table. Those are superb.
Yeah. I mean,
those are works of art.
They are, and listening to both Pear and Mr. Roundtree, who did the Imogen River table, just discuss how they made it, why they made it the size that they did, and it's not just because of 6mm. Pear wanted to do it to fit on a standard dining room table. The thought that they put into it, the effort they put into it, it shows on every single millimeter of both of those tables, and they are amazing.
Brilliant. And would you come back?
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you ask me would I come back to Salute, maybe. I'd come back to this in a heartbeat.